chapter number 18. Respecting other people's mind, guarding other people's thoughts. So this chapter says, if you see others, then with a calm and straightforwardness, speak honestly, give up grimace and scowl, and forever live with a smile. Now that means Dhumtamba asks a question to Atisha, how you should behave when you see others. Then he answered, when you see others, then see them with calm and straightforwardness, and speak honestly and sweetly. That's the general process. Then another question is asked by saying that looks okay, but if you meet somebody who is harming you, then how you should look at him if somebody is harming you. And then he says, give up grimace and scowl. That means if somebody is harming you, they don't like grimace on the face. Don't do like that. Give up grimace and scowl. Which means even if somebody is harming you, don't try to harm back with anger, with grimace, things like that. And then we again ask a question by saying that even when you have not harmed, if they are harming you, then what did you do? Then always live with a smile. Even if somebody is harming you, when you have not harmed, how you should react? Smile. These are very, very interesting approaches to solving problems. Like if you want to douse fire, extinguish fire, if you put more wood, especially dry wood, the fire will become bigger. Instead, if you put water, you can extinguish the fire. It really happens, we need practice, but it really happens. If somebody is really angry, don't try to get angry in bed. When there is nothing to, there are some strange people. I heard about a fight between a husband and wife. So the wife was very angry and she was like saying many things. The husband remained completely quiet without saying anything. Then she became helpless. She said, at least say something. At least say something. If you say something, people get hurt. If you don't say something, then they also want people to hear, you see. Okay. So what I'm saying is, there are many interesting people. In my own case also, sometimes when I'm in my office, not expecting anybody, some people just come in the office, very angry. I don't know why. Really, very angry. Then I also have the right to say, why the hell you came into my office very angry? I can say that also, right? So instead of saying that, if I say good morning, please sit down, it will really calm that person down. Then if you think you can talk to him, then ask him, what is it that you want from me? Please say politely. Then he might already be much calmer and speak much more calmly, you see. And then in some cases, if somebody is very angry, you can say, I'm sorry, I know I have more time, please come after 2 hours. So believe me, he will not remain angry for 2 hours. After 2 hours, things change. Then he comes back with a different person, you see. So it's like that. So there's negative emotions, anger, jealousy, they come and go. which shows that the fundamental nature of our mind is clear light. It's not anger. It is none of these emotions. So these emotions, these negative emotions are like waves on the ocean. They come and go, they come and go, come and go. But of course, unfortunately, unceasing, come and go, come and go, come and go. But they are not in the true nature of the mind. So if you look at the fundamental true nature of the mind, then it is neutral, neither positive nor negative. So you have to, through your effort, make it positive, not negative, right? So you need to see, like take the example of a tree. If the tree is very rigid, not flexible, then if there's a strong wind, the tree will be uprooted. If you resist, it's a very strong tree. When the strong wind comes, if it is not flexible, rigid, then it will be toppled. But if it is flexible, go with the wind, then come back, go with the wind, come back. There are many trees that are flexible, they survive. So likewise also, we need to know when to withdraw, when to remain calm. You see, the time to remain calm and peaceful is when things are turbulent. When things are turbulent, your environment and surroundings are disturbing and turbulent, that is the time to remain calm. The time to take medicine is when you are sick, right? When you're not sick, you don't need medicine. So similarly, when you're mentally sick, angry, and then have jealousy, hatred, and so forth, there is the time the Dharma practice must reach there. So when everything is okay, you say, I'm doing Dharma practice, it's okay, but it's not sure whether you're really doing it or not. The test is when you encounter problems and difficulties. At that time, if you're able to be patient and calm and peaceful, then you're really doing Dharma practice. Okay? So sometimes, you try to avoid aggressive people. Why fight with them unnecessarily? Right? Right? So there are many ways. So the counterforce against anger and hatred is non-violence, compassion, not anger. Not anger. This endless cycle of violence that we see in the world today is because of resorting to anger as a response to anger, resorting to violence as a response to violence, using gun as an response to gun. You see. Now look at Azerbaijan and Armenia. They are fighting. Taiwan and China fighting. Ukraine and Russia fighting. America is also a little bit involved in all of these. And then you study about Tajikistan and another Muslim country, supposed to be brothers. They are now fighting. Because of this anger, you see. Anger response. It's not the solution. It's not the solution. We really, all of us really hope to see a world without conflict, or at least very less conflict. Then the world can be very happy. We should concentrate more on improving food, facilities for food, clothing. As I said, read yesterday, so many millions of people are struggling to find their day-to-day livelihood. Whereas there are countries who effort to put all their money in arms and ammunition to kill people. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't think we have no part in it. We have a part in it. Which leaders you should elect next time? We all have a responsibility. We have a part to play, you see. So you should see the leader's quality. Right? So therefore, to gradually approach toward that bigger participation in our daily life, when you see others, see with calmness, In the family also, if the father and the mother are calm, naturally the children will be also calm. If the father and mother are fighting all the time, then kids will also start fighting because we are, as I said, we are monkeys, we follow each other, right? Okay. If you see others with calm and straightforwardness and speak honestly. In Buddhism, we say, when you see others, you be happy, thinking that it is in relation to the sentient beings that are going to get enlightened. Because, as I said, without depending on the sentient beings, you can't do any practice. You can't develop compassion to rocks and stones. You can't practice patience. For practicing patience, your best teacher is your enemy. It doesn't make sense if you say I'm practicing patience against Buddha or against the Buddha who doesn't do any harm, see? Right? Right? So therefore, and then also see, when you see others, we don't see the differences. Just see this is another human being. It's not important from which country this person came from. What is important is this is exactly like me wanting to dance in something. Right? In search of peace, in search of happiness, not getting much, trying to avoid suffering, problem, but always confronted by some problems and difficulties. Right? Right? And appreciate the diversity, the richness of people coming from different countries. Right? So therefore feel happy. Feel very happy to see other people. If you see others with calm and straightforwardness, don't make any judgment. Just see them with calm and straightforwardness and speak honestly. Speak honestly. And even if somebody is harming you, don't get angry in return. And always try to carry that smile on your face. Smile on your face and show your teeth. It doesn't matter whether you brush your teeth nicely or not. It doesn't really matter. In Tibet, in ancient times in Tibet, nobody uses, like any other country, nobody uses brush. So they may have yellow teeth, broken teeth, but they are smiling very nice, 3-4 teeth are missing, but still smiling very nice. And then elderly people with not teeth at all, but they smile still very nice. You see, so that's the beautiful ornament, most beautiful ornament that you can wear. When you smile, you look beautiful, you look handsome. Okay? Forever live with a smile. And that smile is not a forced smile. There is not a politician smile. There should not be a sarcastic smile. The same smile can be used in different ways. It should be genuine smile, with honesty, with love, with affection, then smile. And that smile is a genuine smile. It is actually coming from within yourself. Normally, and then when this is being, suggested by Atisha, then Dharamkot responses by saying, even if somebody harms you want smiling? That is rather difficult. True, that is rather difficult. Then Atisha answered this by saying, this is difficult. Therefore, if you do this difficult thing, you are doing Dharma practice and you can really collect merit. If it is easy, everybody can do it. It's challenging, difficult, but you see clearly, you saw clearly that this is important. Therefore, you should do it. And also, whether it's difficult or not is much dependent upon your mental attitude. But like for example, if you have a very, very loving, friend, and their loving friend is very angry, for example, do this somehow. So he or she is like very angry and saying all the nasty things. But you don't mind. And sometimes, क्या बोलते हैं हिंदी में है ना, गुस्से में भी प्यारा लगता है. There's a Hindi song of saying that when you get angry, you look more beautiful. When you get angry, you look more handsome. That's what the parents do with the children. When the child is very angry, they will, look, the parents both join together, say, look at his face, how ugly, how beautiful, they teach them. It's like that, really. I mean, angry means what? We're doing like this. So what? So what? It's only an expression. Deep down, there's love. There's everything towards each other. Right? Right? So therefore, this is important. Therefore, you can do it. Don't say it is difficult. When we say difficult, we are not saying impossible. Don't say impossible. Say difficult, it's okay. Difficult means difficult, but you can do it. Difficult, everything is difficult. To get your food is difficult. To work is difficult. But you will never say that to work for food is difficult, so I give up. Then you die of starvation. For food, for clothing, people have to work the whole night. In big cities, you go, poor people, they have to, there no day and night actually. The work shift, day and night, in the Western countries also. I visited some Tibetan families, so the husband is working in the day, the wife is working in the night. Because of this different shift, they hardly see each other, husband and wife. Except on holidays, they don't see each other. It's not easy, difficult, right? But you have to work. So likewise, and then also, unlike the ordinary work, Dharma practice, like for example, we are doing some kind of Dharma practice here. It's so comfortable. When the rest of the people are just walking in the rain, probably get soaked, shoes wet, shirt wet, whatever. We are sitting here comfortably in this nice, warm, beautiful temple city, using our brain a little bit. It's so easy. So therefore, this Buddhist teaching is said to be a teaching, a path, a peaceful path leading to peaceful result. The path is peaceful, the path is calm, the path is compassionate, and the fruit is also peaceful, the state of Buddhahood, the state of Nirvana. Now, in ordinary cases, look at the fishermen or women, how hard they work. Look at the farmer, how hard they work. They can't say it is raining or it is hot. They have to go and work. For example, those who do the rice planting, I mean, the whole day, almost all of their leg has to remain under the mud in the water, and it is beaten by all kinds of insects. So many of them, if you look at some of these farmers, look at their legs, the legs are all bruised. Hard. They have to work, you see. Then fishermen, almost the whole day looking there with a tape and with the fishing equipment, the whole day waiting like this. Maybe catch few big fishes. All right? So even for just food and livelihood, if you have to work so hard, why not? For long-lasting peace and happiness, for this life and many lives to come. Why not? Why not? So therefore, if you're not able to sacrifice everything for your practice, but at least, as I said the other day, quoting His Holiness 50-50, definitely make it a point to devote some time for your Dharma practice. And when are you going to start? After you return home? Then, right now. Right now. Honestly speaking, it's like that. Start right now. Because death is definite. Are you with me? Death is definite. Time of death is indefinite. See, this is reality. Death is definite. Time of death is indefinite. Ordinarily, we are in today's world, we are very good in making appointment. 3 o'clock, I'm going to see this person. 4 o'clock, I'm going to see this person. I also have a number of appointments, in the coming days. So we make appointment, lot of appointment. But the Lord of Death will not seek your appointment. They will strike you anytime. They will strike you anytime. I'll tell you a story about a person who was just like us, distracted and working, walking in the marketplace, talking to other people. Then somebody tapped on his shoulder from behind. When he looked back, the messenger of the dead was there. The messenger of death was there. The one who, tapped his leg from behind was none other than the messenger of the dead. He was horrified. He said, "What? Why are you here? Why are you tapping, my bag?" He said, don't worry, don't worry. This time I'm not here to catch you. Your turn is next Monday. Today I'm here to catch somebody. So he said, thank God, still a lot of time, at least 1 week or something. Then he just ran away, left that marketplace in this town, and then ran away, went into the mountain, hid himself in a cave for 1 week until the Monday or Tuesday, whatever. 1 week he hid there. So on the appointed day, Monday or Tuesday, I don't know, it's just a story, So he just slowly, and this whole week nobody came. So it's the last day. So he was sure he escaped. He managed to escape. So when he came out from the cave and craned his neck and looked at the shoulder, finally, okay, I'm done now, so good. Then suddenly somebody tapped him from behind on the shoulder. He looked around. He saw the same messenger of death standing there. Then this person expressed his shock. How the hell you found me here? He said, don't say that you are shocked. I'm equally shocked. Because the Lord of Death told me to pick you from here. But I saw you in the marketplace last time. So I was very shocked. So anyway, they'll come anywhere. That's the point. They'll come anywhere. They'll come anywhere. You cannot hide yourself. You cannot hide yourself amidst mountain. You cannot, even if you are a very great swimmer, you cannot just swim to the depth of the sea and hide there. Right? There's no way. There's no way when the time for death comes. Now the problem is that death is definite. Time for death is indefinite. And at the time of the death, one that is really beneficial, useful is spiritual practice or Buddhist practice, whatever you want to say. Because at that time, the only thing that is beneficial and useful at the time of death is your spiritual practice. That means if you had, started collecting all the important, belongings of virtuous qualities when you were alive, and had made your mind familiar with all these and lived a very good habit of all those practices, then when you go with your body and travel, the mind has all these possessions of good virtues and belongings. So you have no problem. But if you don't have that, if all you've done is only collecting material possessions, as we normally do, then at the time of the death, you can't take any of these material possessions. You can't take even your MasterCard, even if it is gold, silver, diamond, so many different MasterCards, So you can't take any of them. And not even your body. When you came into this world, at least you came in the body, but when you go, there will be tight security search. I jokingly tell people, Then you can't take. The only thing that goes to the next world is your mind with its habits. Right? And not only at the time of the death, even now, even when you are alive, you can't take everything that you have wherever you go. For example, in this particular journey to Dharamsala, have you brought everything with you? Have you brought everything with you? You can't. You can't. That's the truth, you see. So what you can take with you is your knowledge, your good process of thinking. Right? So therefore, even if it is difficult, you should do the practice because it's so good for you and for others in the long run. And this is called collecting merit. Because now you know what to practice and you're practicing it. That's called collective merit. And a bodhisattva who is peaceful, or any practitioner who is peaceful and sweet in his or her words and speeches, no negative forces can trample that person. No negative spirits can trample that person. When we talk about negative spirit, just as we have positive spirit, we also have negative spirit. Now, this does not mean to say that negative spirits, their job, only responsibility is to seize the moment, find an opportunity to harm you. It's not like that. I don't think so. But if you do something negative, then they think is in our company. You see? Right? So therefore they will support you in the wrong way and you go into the wrong side. And if you manage to maintain this calmness of mind through repeated practice, nothing can disturb you. You can reach a state where nothing can disturb you. Like when Buddha was about to get enlightened, then the so-called evil forces, maras, we call it in Hindi maras, the evil forces, they came to disturb him. When he was about to get enlightened and he was in his meditation state, then first beautiful dancing damsels, girls came, flirting to entice the Buddha. Not necessarily girls, but we see beautiful, girls came dancing and try to entice him. We are simply personifying, but basically it means attachment. But Buddha did not get attracted to this woman dancing dancer. He remained in his meditation. And then when this was not successful, then the lord of the evil forces, they sent armies of evil forces and threw spears and all kind of things to the Buddha to kill him. But whatever is thrown to him, it all become flowers. Buddha could not harm. That means these are all symbolic, presentations and explanations, but it basically means if your mind is truly at peace, nobody can disturb you. Nobody can disturb you. The sound coming from there will not disturb you. You get easily disturbed. Number one, of course, you're an ordinary person, and also you pay so much attention to the sound coming from there, you get disturbed. But gradually, if you get used to going inside, then even if somebody blows a horn right in front of your ear, you'll not hear the sound. Such a concentration is possible. Right? So therefore, if you learn to go inside and maintain that calmness and peace, then no amount of disturbance can disturb you. So that is where we need to proceed slowly. Right? Here, for example, Naropa, the great Master Naropa, he says, even if the whole cosmology is shaking, but the person who has a soft, firm mind and mind wishing to benefit others, his or her mind will not be fluctuated. Even if somebody is killed, beaten and killed by his or her parents, that person will not even say a harsh one. Okay? And even if you see an enemy who is trying to destroy your teaching, your temple, you will not get annoyed. For example, the very famous Buddha statue in Afghanistan, Bahamiya statue, was completely dismantled. But most of the Buddhists, they were not angry. His Holiness was not angry. He didn't say even one word against that. Because the real teaching has to be inside, not outside. These temples and statues in the temples are just reminders. The statues everybody can make. But whether they're statue in the temple, be it made of gold, be it made of mud, but whether these statues and stupas inside the temple are really holy or not, is not dependent on the statue, which is just prepared from mud and gold. That those statues and things in the temple become holy if people who are practicing in the temple, they are holy. Then they can charge everything. The whole place can be charged. Dharamsala is counted as relatively holy because of his holiness, the Dalai Lama, and some other practitioner. Right? You create that kind of vibration there. The place is charged in that way. So the most important thing is people need to do the practice. But unfortunately, even when the religious people fight towards each other, Sunnis against Shia, Hindu against Muslims, whatever. When we do all this fight, we are fighting over piece of land, we are fighting over temple, things like that. But we are not concentrating what is our actual practice. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Right? So therefore, our task as a practitioner is to make sure that we practice the teachings, live the teaching. Okay? So even those who try to destroy the teaching, of course you will try to preserve, but you will not have hatred. You will not use hard speech. And they can be destroyed. They can be vanquished with the practice of great compassion. Even if your body is dismantled and destroyed, the Buddha's teaching cannot be destroyed like it. Right? So therefore, the job of a learned person is to be skillful and practice wisdom and compassion. Skillful. So that is the instruction given by Naropa. And when you normally see other people, how you should see them? Normally when you see people, you should see all of them as very kind to you. Be grateful to everybody. Be grateful to everybody. As I said the other day, whatever you are enjoying today comes directly, indirectly from the labor of other people. Right? I'm able to, at least for 5-6 days, I'm able to reread all these precious texts and able to explain it to it as much as possible because of kindness of Tushita, who organized it. Because of kindness of your participating in it. If you're not there, Tushita will not invite me to give a talk in an empty hall. Right? So everything, come together because of many things, many things. You might think, normally we think, the teacher, we should be very grateful to the teacher. That's true, you should be grateful to the teacher, but the teacher should be equally grateful to the student, the listener. Because you are giving this opportunity to me to really to think again about this teaching. I'm now reading this, teaching this text maybe 3-4 times. Then forget, you see. Read a little bit, practice a little bit, then you get engrossed in many other activities, you see. The Dharma practice is something that has to be done repeatedly, and you are able to do it due to the kindness of presence of other Dharma practitioners. So we should always be grateful to each other and have this sense of feeling of gratitude. So see all of them as very kind to you. Now, if they are very kind to you, then how would you repay their kindness? Very interesting. How would you repay their kindness? Repay kindness, normally when we talk about repaying kindness, normally we think about giving some money, So it is not necessarily money, but he says they should be repaid by giving everything that you have and whatever other people need. Day before yesterday, I saw one young Tibetan lady in Lhasa. She was online and she was saying, no, these days, over 1 month, people are really suffering in Lhasa because of the COVID and restrictions, so many things. So this brave young girl in Lhasa, she was online and she is saying, I have a relatively big house. So any of you are coming to Lhasa, if you have a problem of accommodation, then please, this is my number. Please contact me. Stay with me. I will give you free accommodation. I will give you food at least for 2-3 months, When I'm ready to share everything that you have. I did not bring anything from the other world. I'm not going to take anything from this world to other. Please don't worry. So long as I have that capacity, I'm ready to share and help you. It's really moving, you see. Even under such difficult situation in Tibet, there are people who are really still very much trying to practice Dharma. She's a young woman, very young woman. So she said, I'm not going to take anything from this world when I die. Right now, luckily, I have a big house. So any of you, you don't have to know me. This is my number. Please call me. At least I can go over in a few months. Everything will be free. So there are people like that. There are people like that everywhere. Yeah. So therefore, he says, share everything that you have when people are in need. And then he asks us a question by saying, now when you share something, you should share it without attachment. So how can you say whether you have attachment or not? And this is answered by saying, if you share something without any feeling of stinginess, then it means you have no attachment. You give it and then forget. Don't remember. Don't expect. Thank you back. There is a very beautiful teaching in Shantideva's Bodhicharya, very clear. Shantideva says the two different ways of thinking. One thinking is if you say, if I give this, what will I use? If I give this, what will I use? This way of thinking is the devil's way of thinking. If I give this, what will I use? This is the devil's way of thinking. If I use this, what will I give? This is the religious way of thinking. If I use this, what will I give? And then, as I said earlier, now scientifically it is found that people who give, they are happier than those people who receive. Okay? So give, practice generosity without feeling of miserliness or stinginess. And if in ancient times there are stories of kings who are giving their whole kingdom to others. And then when they actually get something that you have given, feel happy. So this is important to practice giving without attachment. Just like in one of the previous lives of Buddha, he gave his body to an hungry tiger. And the cups of that hungry tiger, that place you can still see never where Buddha gave his body. So even towards your body, you should not have attachment and give it for the benefit of Dharma. Now, give it for the benefit of Dharma doesn't mean that you fight somebody for the Dharma and get yourself killed. We are not talking about becoming fanatics and fundamentalists, but that means you should work hard to do your practice to benefit others. So in other words, you should invite other people and give the gifts of giving. And when you meet them, speak to them nicely, beautiful words, and give them guidance, instructions. Now, because you have listened to this teaching this time, and also you may have listened to teaching many times. So over the days, I'm sure you have gained a lot of knowledge, right? A lot of knowledge. Share that to other people. Share that to other people, not to make them Buddhist. That is not the purpose of Buddhism. The purpose of Buddhist teaching or Buddhism is not to convert. The purpose is to help others, give them good guidance, show them the path. That's important. And if you do that, you are giving the greatest gift. You may be able to change the life of many people. You don't have to sit on a high throne or anything like that, but in your regular friendly conversation, you can share those ideas and you can talk about this journey, how it was beneficial, not beneficial, whatever. Share that, right? Many people have no idea about this thing. Share that, and more people can come, more people can benefit if you think it is useful. Okay? So that's the way. Encourage other people. We are today living in time of degeneration. Those who are powerful, they are bullying those who do not have much power. And when we are equal to others, we practice jealousy. Jealousy means when somebody gets a car or a new clothes, then you feel unhappy. You see, that's jealousy. Okay. So you say then because of this jealousy, you say all the bad things to other people. For example, if I say such and such a teacher is very good, you might say, he may be good in teaching, but you're already trying to, I'm here talking about the goodness of that person, but you don't want to do that. Therefore, you will say, but I know him. He has many other bad qualities. So don't do that. When you're talking about good things of somebody, say, join, yes, I know this is very good. Here we are not talking about the bad side of that person. See? Right? Right? But we are more fond of talking about bad qualities rather than good qualities for others. And then when you bully those people who are lower and poorer than you, then that means you don't have compassion. That means you have no sense of shame and no sense of concern for others. We discussed the meaning of shame and this lack of concern for others. Shame means when you do something which is improper, but have no concern who you are, then that is shame. You know, you do something improper, negative, not thinking that I'm a monk, not thinking that I'm a Buddhist, right? Not thinking that I'm of this religion, that religion, whatever. Then that is called shamelessness. Okay? And if you do something improper without having any concern what your teachers will think, what your parents will think, what your friends will think, that's called having no concern for it. So that should not be there. You must have a sense of shame and sense of concern for others. So the best way to remove jealousy is to meditate on joy. That when others are prospering, others are happy, should also be happy. Should also be happy. Just like, for example, if you, let us say, if you have, 2, 3 children. Now, when they are young and not able to look after themselves, then you have to look after them. But then gradually, if your children grow and they are able to find a job and able to look after themselves, will you be jealous or will you be happy? Will you be happy or jealous? You will be happy, right? So, like that, when other sentient beings who you are supposed to help, because you've cultivated bodhicitta. So you're supposed to help others. So these people who you are supposed to help, when they are able to look after themselves, when they are becoming rich, when they are becoming prosperous, when they are becoming successful, you feel happy. Like we've done with your children. Don't get jealous. Okay? So meditate on joy. May all sentient beings live with happiness and the cause of happiness. Now, with respect to protecting other people's mind or respecting other people's mind, which we read earlier. Normally, when you see others, be not stringent, that means practice giving, but delight in giving, and discard all jealousy. Let's explain. Then, to respect others' mind, discard all disputations, and forever be equipped with patience. Now, what is the best way of respecting others? What is the best way of protecting other people's mind? The best way of protecting other people's mind is don't unnecessarily engage in argument. We do have conversations, discussions all the time. But when you do this conversation, discussions, don't unnecessarily argue so that you are the winner. Right? Just listen carefully, listen to other people's viewpoint, respect it. If there is a way to explain things gently, explain it, but otherwise don't try to, refute them, don't try to make their viewpoints irrelevant. So if you do that, many of these unnecessary disputations or fights and arguments will come to an end. Right? It's very important. Listen to them, respect them. And particularly, as I said, you have 2 ears. That means listen. One mouth, speak less. I said this already. So listen carefully. If you listen, you can get many new ideas. If you keep on talking, then you will be repeating what you know, not learning much. Okay? So even if somebody is harming you, but if you remain patient, then you are a sublime being. And if somebody is really engaging in negative deeds continuously, you should pray for the person. That this person, he continues to engage in such negative deeds, probably because he is now, forced by his past life's karma. This person is addicted to doing bad things. Not necessarily he or she is enjoying, but he or she is forced by her karmic disposition, karmic habits. And there are certain things that we do all the time, even after we know this is useless, we keep on doing it because of our karmic habits. Okay? So this completes chapter 18, how to respect and guard other people's mind. Chapter 19. Chapter 19 basically discusses about how to always engage in helping others. How to always engage in helping others. The process of always helping others is be without flattery or rush for new friendship, but always be stable and firm. Give up despising others and remain with respect. When instructing others, have compassion and benevolent mind. So this is regarding how you should associate with other people. The way to associate other people is, number one, be without flattery. Some people are very good in flattering in front and then backbiting behind. That's not good. Be honest, say the right thing, don't exaggerate, don't denigrate. Because just by flattering this person for one day will not last long. If you are to maintain that friendship for a long time. And also don't rush for new friendship. There's a Tibetan word which is not so easy to translate. So I've translated it like don't rush for new friendship. That means basically don't be fickle. Don't be fickle. Normally we say people who rush for new friendship and very fickle, then we say don't be like flag. Don't be like a flag in the wind, It's always changing directions, according to the wind. So there are people who who act as a good person to the newly married person, and go with this person for few days, then completely forget. Then go with another person, trying to get advantage from that person or whatever. Not reliable. And I'm not saying don't make friendship with new people, but what I'm saying is don't be fickle. You should be a trustworthy, reliable person so that your friendship lasts longer. Now that does not mean to say that you continue with your attachment. That's different, okay? Normally when we have attachment, then we write to each other, I miss you, all those things. But when deep down, what propels you to keep in touch with that person is your attachment and desire, not so much friendship. So there is a difference between liking and loving. Liking and loving. If you like flower, you might pluck it. If you love flower, you will water it. So something like that, you see. So if you genuinely love somebody, then have genuine love without attachment, so that you always try to be nice and help each other wherever you are. Not trying to gain anything from that person. That's important. Or rush for new friendship. And also the most important thing is, you should live your life in such a way that you are not completely dependent on one or two people. It does not really matter much how other people respond to you. But if you mentally develop this thinking that these are all my friends, so that's why there is a very popular phrase in Tibetan Buddhism where we say all friends sentient beings. Just as we say all mother sentient beings, we say all friends sentient beings. So mentally you consider others as your friend. It's not necessary that that person will respond to you. You always keep on writing email. Nobody can keep on writing email to over 9 billion people, or 8 billion people, right? And most of this population you don't even know, right? But you can consider them as your friends, living on the same planet, enjoying the same fate. Especially in today's time, when with the speed of science and technology, they're all huddled together. Like this Ukraine war is hurting everybody, the economy of so many countries. There's now shortage of supply of gas to European countries. Many European countries, they are really now in big difficulty, especially the winter is coming, there's shortage of gas, then shortage of grain. Both Russia and Ukraine, they are like grateful to source of grain. So everybody faces problem. Now, unfortunately, there's a big earthquake, 6.8 Richter scale in Taiwan, just 2 days ago. Now, yesterday, there's a big earthquake, 7.6 or something in Mexico. You see? So, see, look at this. We have all these problems, natural calamities. As if these natural disasters and calamities are not enough, we make more man-made problems. So that's why he's holding that the Dalai Lama is saying that we should at least reduce the man-made problem. This war, this conflict, these are all man-made. So can we call human beings intelligent human beings? Really? So we need to talk about these things. And at least people have the capacity to elect the right person, right world leader. You have at least that right. And educate the younger generation also how we are going to live. It's not enough just to give money and buildings to your children, but also give them the right perspective, right knowledge, right education to have a better world. That is our responsibility. You see. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama always said 20th century was a century of bloodshed. 21st century should be a century of dialogue and negotiation. Now we are in the 22nd century, that bloodshed, that fighting conflict and going all the more. And because of this conflict that is started by some of these big powerful nations, smaller nations are also now thinking about stockpiling arms, including nuclear weapons, because how can they defend themselves? And unfortunately, in the world, there is really a very 7, 8 members of the Security Council. They have the right. They can make nuclear bombs. Others they say you can't make nuclear bombs. I don't know how these things work. If you read the story in India, India had a big problem to acquire these nuclear bombs. You see, but then India, out of desperation, did not follow the rules and started making nuclear bombs. But the first nuclear bomb that India produced was called Buddha bomb. Because India is saying this is for peace. You know about this? So interesting, It's called Buddha bomb, which means this nuclear kind of programs are for peace. That's what they're saying. Anyway, there are a lot of things to think about. Be without flattery or rush for new friendship, but always be stable and firm. That's what he's saying. Always be stable and firm. That means you should, in general, be really a good person with faith, with integrity. Okay? So therefore, when you live with others, when you associate with others, you should, as a person, be a stable, firm, reliable, nice person. You should be a nice, reliable person in general. Okay? And in order to get all these good qualities, you should have firm faith of the goodness of the teaching. And in this case, he says, you should not act like because this is composed in Tibet. He says you should not act like the big Tibetan, the Tibetan leaders or big people in Tibet. If you do like that, you cannot be a good person. Because whatever other qualifications and qualities you may have, but if you become arrogant, then it will not be good. So without arrogance, without pride, you should be able to relate to everybody, the higher ones, the middle ones, the lower ones, You should be able to live with everybody, talk to everybody. They are human beings. Out of everything, the most important thing is they are human beings. And sometimes, when you talk to this seemingly poor and low people, they have so many interesting stories to say, to tell, you know. Very often I go to Delhi and I travel in these three-wheelers or sometimes rickshaws. Then I talk to them, their story. They have a lot of religious knowledge. They have actually a lot of life experiences. Very interesting. And then you ask them to sit with you for a cup of tea. They really get so happy. Because there's such a gap between the so-called rich man and poor man. And then poor people, they think, oh, I can't even step into the five-star hotel. I can't even look at the leader. I can't even, that's how people think. So we need to remove all these barriers. It's the story of young Tibetan women. Many Tibetans, when they had opportunity to come to India, they come. Now it's more difficult, but earlier many Tibetans were coming from Tibet to see Solomons. Then they pour out their heart and talk about the stories of suffering and things like that. So I heard the story of one young woman, very young woman. So of course they had all heard about the greatness of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but they are illiterate, not so educated. So when they talk about somebody, especially a religious person, as amazing, as big, they might think him as a deity, as a god. That's all the thing. For this young lady, she joined other crowd to see His Holiness. And then when His Holiness started talking to them, she said, oh, Dalai Lama is a man. Dalai Lama is a human being. You see, so much misunderstanding, misperception, because we make this discrimination. Then also the so-called religious teachers of any country, you just uplift them to such a stage, then the leaders to such a stage, then they, in many places, the so-called religious teachers, they live in very fancy houses, and then a little bit from the crowd, and then all this beautiful lighting, and then people ordinarily they think he's really superhuman, which is not. He's another human being. He may have certain qualities, but in many cases, they don't even have the quality that ordinary people have. But because of money and so many things, they manage to make this show, you see. So we need to teach people to understand the reality. Okay? So don't make discrimination. Because poor people are actually more genuine than so-called educated or rich people. They're more genuine. So unless it is something or in a situation which is totally improper, then you should always smile. Because if you basically prove yourself as a reliable, good person, then everybody will show their faith and trust to you. Just like when the mother cries, the small kids will also cry. So Atisha is suggesting, Domtama, that you are of course a great leader, but if you do like this, people will be with you. People will be with you. Just like when the mother cries, the children will also cry. So automatically they will develop faith. Automatically they will develop trust. You don't have to tell this 100,000 lies to join your political party. This political party, they keep on telling lies. Our party is the best party in India, and then criticizing the opposition, things like that, telling lies. And with all this advertisement and things like that, people don't actually trust much, you see. So on the other hand, if you are genuine, if you're honest, your name and family is spread by itself. And people will help you, they'll trust you, they'll get the benefit from you. So with this stability, integrity, and lack of duplicity, with this genuineness, whatever you do will be beautiful. So that means Don't pretend what you are not. Be genuine. Be good. Everybody will see it. Then whatever you do, whatever you say will become beautiful. But if there is no genuineness, if there is hypocrisy, if there is duplicity, you may think you are very clever. You may think that you fooled everybody. But people are also not that completely stupid. They sense it, Even the dog sense it. If you have a wish to cheat the dog and then try to give a piece of meat and bread, they want the piece of meat and bread, but they will not come happily. They'll just then they'll go away. Quickly snatch and run away. The crows do like that. Dogs do like that. But if you are genuine, of course you can't talk to them, but your genuineness is reflected. They get the vibration, you see. Right? So therefore you should be a genuinely good person. Now, if contrary to that, if you are very fickle and rushing for new friendship, then in the initial stage, everybody who you meet seems to be becoming your friend. And gradually, everybody will become your enemy. And likewise, if you flatter those who are higher than you, powerful than you, then in the beginning they might say it's very easy to associate. But as soon as they know the reality, then they will say, oh, this flatterer, this hypocrite, he is not enlightened. He will say that. Then another question, if there is somebody, whatever you do to please that person, but that person never gets pleased, what should you do? In that case, from your side, you should never think about despising or looking down upon that person. Have respect still to that person. So in addition to this development of compassion, wish to benefit others, you should also remove these wild, discursive thoughts, primarily clinging, grasping to yourself. If you are devoid of this self-grasping and clinging to yourself, even if you go amidst conflict, go in a war zone, you will not be harmed. So you should develop patience to the extent of a mother who has developed patience or compassion to her son who has fallen into a pit of fire. So therefore you should go and visit poor people. Go and see those who are deprived. Go and visit those who are hungry and thirsty and who are without cloth. I mean, imagine you have a piece of cloth which you're not using so many years, and there is a beggar who has no cloth at all. You put that small piece of jacket or coat on him, how good it is. There are some people. I recently saw one young Tibetan girl again, calling Kalimpong. She goes out and then there are like in Majidikatina, the Tibetans live also there. Also, I saw some Tibetan who just go out and see all these beggars, whose body is like really dirty, smelly, and full of flies. They go there and help them change the cloth, buy new clothes, wash the whole body, cut the hair. There are people who do this. Number of Tibetans who are already trying to follow them. Not sure if there are other places also. This is really, really good. Dharma in action. Not just talking. So therefore, whenever you see suffering of people, if you feel really, really concerned, then it means your Dharma practice is becoming genuine. Just as when your little daughter falls into a pit of fire, the mind of the mother will not be able to bear that. She will give up doing all other activities and she will just concentrate how to save that little girl who was falling into the pit of fire. Right? So in this way, you should really develop this very strong loving kindness and compassion, and as much as possible try to liberate and save these suffering sentient beings. And in this way, if you know all these sentient beings are your parents, your father is mother, how can you make discrimination? How can you have attachment to some and disliking to others? If they are happy, you are happy. If they are not happy, you cannot be happy. So in this way, if you undertake your spiritual practice, and then of course gradually if you become Buddha, then of course all other happiness will come at one go. So start from development of compassion. As I said the other day, if you have one quality, if you have one practice in the palm of your hand, you have all other practices. And what is that practice? With compassion. Start from there. Be a compassionate person. Be a loving person. And of course, with wisdom. With wisdom. Otherwise, in today's world, you may be cheated. Okay? So develop this compassion. Look at all sentient beings. See them as your parents. Try to benefit them as much as possible. Try to love them as much as possible. And be happy when everybody is happy. And pray that all sentient beings become enlightened. Now, don't be biased among the sentient beings. Just as in terms of your own happiness, you are not biased. Right? You will never say, I should be happy today and I should be suffering tomorrow. No? You want happiness all the time. So similarly, see all sentient beings as equal. So that is the root of development of compassion. And if you develop compassion, then you will be able to develop bodhicitta, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. And bodhicitta is of two kinds: aspirational bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta. Aspirational bodhicitta is a bodhicitta where you think, how nice if I'm able to get enlightened, how nice if I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. But that is just, this is amazing, but this is still just an aspiration. You are not doing anything, you are simply wishing. Then the next point is not only wishing, but to implement, to actually help others by developing perfections. There is a difference between the wish to go to Megalorganj and actual going. The wish to go to Megalorganj may be good, but it will not make you reach Megalorganj. You need to lift your feet and go. You need to start walking, then you will reach Megalorganj. So similarly, a good aspiration is not enough. You need to engage. So therefore, the second type of bodhicitta is called engaging bodhicitta. So it should be engaging kind of Buddhist. Practice giving, practice morality, practice patience, practice concentration, make effort, and practice wisdom. Right? 6 perfections, 10 perfections. And by cultivating compassion, all other good qualities will come to you. So this completes chapter 19, which talks about always benefiting others. Always benefiting others. Okay, some questions. Yes, please.
Unrelated question, but I was thinking, why some of the center the Buddha is black? Why some of the center the Buddha is black?
Buddha is
In black color.
black color. I don't, I have not seen any black colored Buddha in Tibetan tradition.
The Indian tradition
I don't know. Are there? But basically, I mean, in a way, you know, yeah, in a way, it is okay because in Buddhism we talk about 4 activities: peaceful activities for development and increase, activities for control, and wrathful activities. So for peaceful activities, we can have white Buddha probably, but we do have white deities like Avalokiteshvara and things like that. Then for increase, yellow color. For development, white color. For control, I think red color. For wrathful practices, probably black color. So probably something like that. Okay, yeah.
something about when in life sometimes we be satisfied with something because
When you speak louder, I am concentrating on something else. I'm concentrating on the water, you know. Yeah.
then how to find the balance or the understanding of when to make real changes in our life because we feel dissatisfaction or
When should we remain?
be somebody so very challenging. I think that happens with when sometimes we feel dissatisfaction and I'm trying to understand always if it means we need to make a real change in our life or dissatisfaction that comes from our mind, if being a relationship or changing job.
So sure, probably you are saying how you balance your life, right? How you balance your life.
How do I distinguish the two? Because sometimes it is pretty effective because we really need to make real changes in our life, or sometimes it's just our mind that is satisfied because that's how it works.
Yeah, you need to think carefully. I told you the story of the disciple of Milarepa, you know, who wanted to change and do everything. Then he started suffering. Then he started, you know, complaining. Not like that. Think carefully. Think about the pros and cons, the long-term benefit, the short-term benefit, your own capacity, you know, things like that. Sometimes, yes, sometimes you need to be bold also. Because otherwise, if you are too safe, you may not be able to take drastic steps. Sometimes you need to take drastic steps, but even there, you should have some understanding of what will happen gradually if you take that step. You see? So therefore, you need to, whatever you're doing, you need to think carefully. Like, for example, if you say, let me give you an example. For example, if you there are people who come to such teaching, and then we talk about the drawbacks of attachment, anger, jealousy, and things like that. I remember this story. Once I was giving an evening talk to young Tibetans. The next day, his father of young student who was working in the Tibetan government, he said, Geshe Lhakdor, your teaching seems to be very effective. Then I said, what happened? My son now wants to become a monk. Wants to become a monk. So I mean, what I'm saying is not easy to become a monk, Just by listening to one talk, you might get inspired, but how long that inspiration will remain, what is the situation, the pros and cons? Will you be able to remain a monk forever? You need to think what will happen if you meet a beautiful girl, who likes you, who is chasing you, what will you do? You need to think a little bit about all these things. Yes. Of course, whatever we decide, there's no guarantee that it will always be successful, but as much as possible, you need to think carefully, pros and cons. Okay. Yes.
I have a question. So we talk about how the consciousness can like transfer light, something like that. So what can it transfer into maybe object? And with that, today we have machines that have artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Could that maybe something happening with that if they can think on their own, or like can something get into them? When will they be able to develop a mind of their own or something?
Based on the Buddhist teaching, I don't think so. But what science is achieving, technology is achieving today is like miraculous. Artificial intelligence and all the things, talking computer, like China right now, because the economy is going down. So they are not able to give job to many people. So in lieu of these people, they are using robots in making, arms and ammunitions. So they are producing a lot of robots. In many restaurants also, they use robots. But I don't think, at least for the time being, I don't think you will have all this complex responses, emotions, so many things that you have with human beings. I don't think you will be able to do it in a machine. I see. For example, take this example of cloning. The cloning was done with thinking that if you simply take the semen and the regenerative fluid from the mother, blood from the mother, and mix them, you can always be able to produce children. That's what they thought. And then with that experiment, they did produce this sheep, Dolly the sheep. It became very famous, but it did not survive very long. You see? Right? There is also a book called Cloning the Buddha. There's a whole book called Cloning the Buddha. So they're thinking about like cloning and the best people and not the bad people, They're thinking like that. But as far as I know, you can clone from my cells and make 1,000 or 10,000 Geshe Lhakdor. But they will not be exactly same like the original Geshe Lhakdor. There will be some deficiencies, some problem in the way. So, and then ethically also now this is for the time being, a little bit controversial. So from there we can say, even when you really use the actual semen and blood from the parents, if you're not so successful, I doubt the nations by themselves will be able to produce things like that. But let us see, if it happens, then this whole question of afterlife, how we are going to deal with this. A lot of interesting things, yeah.
What if wanted to ask is kind of having subject, but as far as I know, you're still having journal female Dalai Lama. So I wanted to ask if it's possible in the future and what is it?
Possible. This question was asked to His Holiness many times. And he said, not only I will come as a woman, but I can come as a beautiful woman. And when he said this, then this offended many other women. With this Dalai Lama is talking about beauty. What about those who are not beautiful? People are like that. So anyway, the important point is, like in Buddhism, we had Tara, human deity, very famous deity, Tara. So many Vajrayogini, so many human deities are there. Then especially if you read the history, the biography of this Tara, human deity, she prayed that for all lives to come, may I become a Buddha. She was almost like probably the first feminist. You see? So like that, it's possible. Because when we talk about enlightenment, the Buddhahood is not decided in terms of whether it is something achievable by men or women. Because especially when we talk about, if you talk about the physical strength, then maybe, the man has more power. And this is how the masculinity ruled the women for so many years. Primarily physical power, by using physical power. But when we talk about becoming Buddha, we're not talking about physical power. We are talking about transformation of mind. So we are, both the men and women are same, generally speaking. And based on my own experience, and I think it's experience me, soulness, and many teachers, women are generally speaking more wise. The mother takes care of children more than the father. Father just produces it, and then of course plays a role, but not so strong like the mother. It's the mother who primarily looks after the child and gives love and affection and all those things. You see, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama also says that all of us, our first teacher is our mother. That's what Mahatma Gandhi also said. You see. And then also in all kind of these teachings, but today we have fairly good balance, presence of men and women, but normally women are normally more than men. Also in teaching spiritual practice here. So more gentle. And in the world, international arena also, those who, engage in war and conflict and primarily men, less women, right there. So my main point is not making any discrimination, saying who is good, who is better. What I'm saying is, yes, everybody has the same, capacity. And in Buddhism, we say even the sentient beings, ordinary sentient beings like insects and birds, they also have the same potential like us. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually a question from yesterday. In the text, it said, stay free of all attachments and stay free of craving and desire. So for the student who read this, who learned this, when he develop a desire not to be attached, desire not for craving, desire not to desire.
Yeah. Yeah, so craving, desire. Desire, here we are talking about negative desire. We are not saying all desires are good. The desire to become, all desires are bad. The desire to become Buddha is good. The desire to get a good job is okay. The desire to become a good human being is okay. Okay, here when we say desire, it's basically attachment. Attachment, then craving, then grasping. These are not good. Okay, yeah. Louder. Yeah. No.
What is the difference between distracted mind and thinking mind?
What mind?
Distracted mind and thinking mind.
Thinking mind.
That's the question.
Distracting. When you get to sing, when your mind sings, become dull. It is also a kind of distraction. Okay. But there are other minds which are not singing but distraction. For example, excitement is really distraction. When you do the meditation, two major obstacles are singing and excitement. Excitement is distraction, but not seeking. Okay? Yeah.
Recognition and concentration while contributing with all three domains of
Distinction between?
recollection.
Yeah. Recognition and concentration. Recognition and concentration. Recognition The recognition is not just concentration. When you do analytical meditation, there is a recognition. When you do mindfulness practice, there is recognition. When you develop awareness, there is recognition, but not necessarily concentrating. Concentrating means you focus just on one object. Recognition means awareness of not just one object, many objects also. It can be one object, it can be many objects. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any on this side? Yeah.
Okay, so I have one question. But also there's something that I kind of want to share, and I wanted to know if that's okay with you. Yesterday I read a few Buddhist jokes, and I wanted to know if I could share them with you or maybe with the group.
Please, please. I'm very fond of jokes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then.
Guys, here by the way?
Yes. Very good.
Okay.
Good.
This is actually I have a question at the end, so thank you for letting me do this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
Yes. Very good.
What do you call a random girl named Sarah? Samsara.
What do you call?
A random girl
Well,
named Sara.
yeah.
Samsara.
Yeah. So what are your questions?
Samsara.
Samsara.
Next one.
Okay.
What do you call a Buddhist
Yeah.
who has reached enlightenment really, really fast?
Yeah.
A bodhicitta.
Okay. I don't want to confront. Because bodhicitta is not Buddhahood.
Give me.
Okay.
What do you call a fish who wants to get enlightened just for himself?
Then we call it fish.
Selfish.
Selfish, yeah. Selfish, yes. Good right.
Bad those, by the way, if no one has been so far.
Yeah.
All right. I have two more. What do you call the stage?
Fish. Selfish. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
What do you call a stage where a Buddhist isn't enlightened, but is learning how to serve? He is in the surfering.
Yeah, he's swimming. He's swimming.
Some of them are just terrible.
Swimming. He's swimming in samsara. Yeah.
All right. And last one. How many Buddhists does it take to change an empty light bulb?
How
How many Buddhists does it take to change an empty light bulb? One. But before, he will change its perspective on being empty.
very good. Garland.
All right.
So we'll add one more. I will add one more. So add one more. Next time when you write an email, don't say I have attachment here. Because Buddhist is not supposed to have attachment.
So for my real
Yeah.
let's imagine a reality that Buddhism just basically takes over the world in a way, becomes the only religion, the only.
Yeah, we call it saffron revolution. Saffron revolution.
Okay.
So the whole world is taken by people wearing saffron clothes. Okay.
And let's say that everyone basically manages to, let's say, be enlightened or become I don't know how to say the words that well.
Yeah.
Let's say everyone basically detach themselves from all material wantings, and no one wants to have kids. Is that is there like some backup plan? Is there some kind of idea for a very unrealistic situation? But let's say everyone becomes monks. I mean, I assume in some way Buddhism does kind of aim for that kind of a reality, no?
No need to have, no need to wait for the time when everybody becomes monk. Right now, there are a good number of monks, but who are not good monks. So forget about everybody become a Buddhist, but if everybody becomes a monk or nun, there's no guarantee that the world will be free from problem difficulties. Okay, the world will be free from difficulties and problems if you really become a good Buddhist, good practitioner, good monk, good nun, not just monk and nun, not just being a Buddhist. So just becoming Buddhist is not the solution for problem. Yeah.
But I asked about the idea of but they no one wants to bring kids because that everyone has become monks.
Yeah, that is just imagination,
That's far-fetched.
very far-fetched. Because we wish that samsara comes to an end, but it is not easy. Attachment will be there, children will be there. Not only lay people, but many monks will be disrobing and marrying. Nuns will be disrobing and marrying. This is samsara, So we wish good things. We wish we are all in nirvana, but the realistic nirvana, realistic liberation is not just completely removing the seed of negative emotions, this big talk that we are talking. But we can make this world something like nirvana if nobody harms each other. Forget about removing the seeds of all the negative emotions and things like that. But if we learn to live as a human being, real human being, not harming each other, not stealing from each other, that the 10 non-virtuous actions that we are talking about. If we are able to do that, then the world will be just really a beautiful, happy place to live in. It's almost like nirvana. Okay? Yeah.
We're prepared to be an independent.
Louder.
We're prepared to be in the future an independent
Huh?
country.
Will Quebec in the future?
What?
Will Quebec in the future be an independent country?
I don't know. Thank you for asking this question, but I don't know because from one perspective, it seems impossible. Because China is so powerful, so big, from one perspective, and they are already captured our country, right? But then on the other, when seen from another perspective, especially from Buddhist perspective, there is nothing that is permanent. There's nothing that doesn't change. For example, right now, because of the wrong attitude and behavior the Chinese government is adopting, is creating so many enemies all over. Australia becoming enemy. They were quite good friend. India, so much skirmishes and fighting near the border. This time when Prime Minister Modi was in this Shanghai Corporation meeting or something, even when Xi Jinping and Modi met, like other important leaders, when they were standing side by side, they did not look at each other and shake hands towards each other. When some years back, when Modi invited Xi Jinping to India, especially to Gujarat, Prime Minister Modi really treated him so much, He looked after him so much, giving the greatest respect or whatever, try to make that friendship. But then continuously like trying to come in from all sides of Indian border. And it's not one time, so many times, Pit me churamanna, as we say, continuously doing. So how long you can trust me, unfortunately. So now their next door neighbor, South Korea can't trust China. Japan can't trust China. There are small countries like Pakistan and Sri Lanka, Nepal. They are so small that China is giving, pumping money and they are unable to do much, so they are kind of, their presence is not big. And America also. Of course, in many of the European countries also. So things can change. You see, it's dependent on just few people, especially a country like China. It's run by basically one person. So there's not reliable. Things can change. Not only how they mistreat Tibetans, but how they treat their own people, Chinese, during the COVID pandemic, how they were treating. Despite censoring the news and the media, people these days get sent to what is happening there. So there's all there for us to see, right? So it is possible, things will change, it will become free, that's also possible. Nothing is impossible. But now here the important thing is the Tibetans should really work very hard right now. Normally we blame the enemy, you know. Enemy is of course you can blame, but that is not enough. We should, whether you're Indian, you should really work for your country. Then if you are Tibetan, you should really, especially Tibetans are displaced in a different country, we are refugee. So we cannot afford to live like other people, you see. We have to work very hard, so that is not happening. I mean, not so much. And that's not a plight of just Tibetan, everywhere it's like this. We are very, very good, human beings are very good in criticizing others. You know, for example, here in India, Tibetans say, we want freedom, China go back. Just by this slogan, will the Chinese say, yes, I'll go back? They'll never say. You see? And then say in Tibet, we have no freedom to do religious practice, this, that. But in India, do you have freedom? Yes. Then why you are not doing? You know, as simple as that. I'm just taking Tibetan as an example, but it's similar everywhere. People don't do what they can do, but simply saying that if I have this, probably you should drink something in this. Yeah.
Firstly, does he still maintain a practice of the covering up? And what would you advise to us when our life becomes chaotic and start to change? What part of practice should you try and keep? What part will you leave to get some feedback?
I don't know whether I got your question very clearly. So I'm answering with the correct assumption, hopefully. You see, in life, there are certain practices which is really good for you all the time to come. Evergreen, I can call it evergreen practices. Like compassion. You should practice at this life, many lives to come, pray that I'm able to develop love and compassion. Whatever business, whatever job you are doing, then patience, integrity, these are like unavoidable, basic, almost kind of necessities in life. Very important to do that. Very important to. Let me give you an example. This ethics, you know, the importance of ethics. Harvard University, a group of researchers did a research on some students, I think 4 or 5 students. For many years, they were studying in Harvard University. So right from that time, they started doing this research on these students. So they were all equally very good in their studies. Then finally, they graduated from Harvard. Then they got different jobs. And when they got different jobs, some people still maintain their good relationship with their family, you know. Then others just went after money, get divorced, this problem, that problem. Then gradually, you know, those people who pay attention to money and not for family and other good things, they rose like a rising star, short time. They became CEO, a lot of money, things like that. But very soon they started falling down. Got into trouble, depression, things like that. Then those who maintain that healthy relationship, they slowly but surely become successful. they did this research for many, many years. So what I'm really saying is there are certain almost like perennial qualities which we should all have, no matter whatever job you are doing. That's important. Then there are other like small things you can always change when you see this is not important, the time is changing, you know. Then of course you're compelled to change it, and you have to change it. Yeah.
The other bit of the question was, does the Dalai Lama keep his practice going even when he's traveling all around the world?
Oh yeah. True.
Every day, is that
Every day exactly the same.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was saying. That's typical, yes, of course. But it's almost like asking question, does the Dalai Lama eat breakfast even when he's traveling?
Yeah.
Yes, because this is important. So once we develop this conviction, the importance of the practice, you know, like eating breakfast and that, you'll always find time. But the problem is our priorities are different, you see. Food, clothing, money, these are very important. Then spiritual practice, I do if I get time, see. So it depends on how you see that practice important. Okay. Little bit louder, please.
I was thinking, we should take it to the first day, like, you know, now much of down water. But it's excuse and mother, didn't you get up and then never down?
I can't get properly.
Harm, not harming others, so that people eat
I
chicken.
mean, it looks like I'm becoming deaf. With all that.
Can you repeat my question?
Yeah, please, if you can get up or whatever, come closer or whatever. Be kind and help me, come closer, maybe whatever. Maybe if you want, you can sit on this throne where this guy said. Yeah.
Can also be by a division. They try to collect on to get down and so stuff with it. It's possible to know how to other living animals.
Eating chicken.
Yeah, yeah.
We should have found that and,
Chicken, eating chicken?
eating chicken.
Yeah.
Is it make harm to eat chicken or drink milk or eat water?
Very good question. Very good question. This is an important question, difficult question. You know, the Buddha actually never said you should all be vegetarian. Interestingly. At the time of the Buddha, the monks were basically, we call mendicants, which means they go for their alms by begging. So whatever the householder, whatever food the householder gives, they have to take it. They can't say, I'm vegetarian. So they eat whatever they get. So there's one thing. Then in Tibet also, Tibetans are meat eaters. They love meat, mainly because of the cold climate. Because of the cold climate. Now, if you go to some of the cold countries like some of the Russian republics in Siberia and Tuva, they're all voracious meat eaters because of the lack of vegetation and also cold climate. But that should not be an excuse because now when you are in a place where vegetables are available, you should, as much as possible, take more vegetarian food. You are not directly killing that animal, but because of your eating, because it is eaten by so many people, it will, of course, inspire to kill more. So therefore, if possible, become vegetarian. If not, at least lessen it, at least eat less. That is very, very important. Very important. Then don't go too extreme. Don't go too extreme because it's not only meat. if you're really concerned about other animals, then you can't wear leather jackets. You can't wear leather shoes. There's so many other products that come from other animals. So there also you need to be careful. There also you need to be careful. Okay. So, yeah. All right. One more question? Yes, please.
Like what you mean?
Ask about.
Yeah, what's the interpret?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you go there,
Huh?
maybe, when they're going to meet.
I don't know. They had the color yellow supposed to be symbolizing the yellow tradition. But others, I don't know, because their head also has this long, almost like ears, they all have those explanations. I don't know. Huh?
No expression.
That was the question.
Why does faith have no expression?
The Buddha's face. that is up to the sculptor, whether he will put expression or not. Because one problem is, I'm definite, the sculptor has never met Tsongkhapa. So, then also, yes, you're right, it will be big here. Yeah. Because he has to listen to so many people. Just a big year. Okay, I don't know. Thank you. All I'm thinking about right now is the lunch. Please enjoy your lunch.